Hi friends, myself Aniket Renavikar, Assistant Professor, Center for Distance Education, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. In MCOM Valuation of Real Estate subject, the topic is in subject elementary surveying. The topic is leveling. We can already see the various definitions, object and uses of the leveling. Various definition we can see already in the lectures. In this lecture we can see the different types of levels, and these levels, the dumpy level, which how we can use it. There are different types of levels. There are 5 to 6 types of the leveling instruments are used. There is first is a dumpy level, Y level, cookies reversible level, crushing level, modern or tilting level, and automatic level. In that, the dumpy level is the instrument which are used in many times. In this dumpy level, the telescope of the dumpy level is rigidly fixed to its supports, and it cannot be removed from its supports, nor can it be rotated about its longitudinal axis. The instrument is stable and retains its permanent adjustment for a long time. This instrument is commonly used for the leveling. Next is the Y level. Y level is the telescope is held in 2 Y supports. It can be removed from the supports and reversed from one end of the telescope to the other end. The Y supports consist of 2 curved clips which may be raised, thus the telescope can be rotated about its longitudinal axis. Next is a cookies reversible level. This is the combination of the dumpy level and the Y level. It is supported by 2 rigid sockets. The telescope can be rotated about its longitudinal axis, withdraw from the socket, and replaced from one end of the telescope to the other end. Next is a cushion level. The telescope cannot be removed from the sockets and rotated its longitudinal axis. The eyepiece and the object glass are removable and can be interchanged from one end of the telescope to the other end. Next is a modern or tilting level. The telescope can be tilted slightly about its horizontal axis with the help of tilting screw. In this instrument, the line of collimation is made horizontal for each observation by means of tilting screw. Next is the automatic level. This is also known as the self-aligning level. This instrument is leveled automatically within a certain tilt range by means of a compensative device or tilt compensator. These are the various types of the levels, but we can use the more in cases or commonly used instrument is a dumpy level. Dumpy level is the telescope of dumpy level is rigidly fixed to its supports. It cannot be removed from its supports or nor can be rotated about its longitudinal axis. The instrument is stable and retains its permanent adjustment for the long time. Therefore, we can use this dumpy level. In this dumpy level, the first is a tripod stand is used. The tripod stand consists of 3 legs which may be solid or framed, and the legs are made up of light and hardwood. The lower ends of the legs are fitted with the steel shoes. Next is the leveling head. The leveling head consists of 2 parallel triangular plates having 3 grooves to support the foot screws. The leveling head consists of 2 parallel triangular plates having 3 grooves to support the foot screws. Next is the foot screws. 3 foot screws are provided between the trivet and tribatch. By turning the foot screws, the tribatch can be raised or lowered to bring the bubble to the center of its run. Next is the telescope. The telescope consists of 2 metal tubes, one moving within the other. It also consists of an object glass and eyepiece on opposite ends. A diaphragm is fixed with the telescope just in front of the eyepiece. The diaphragm carries the crosshairs. The telescope is focused by means the focusing screw and may have either external focusing or internal focusing. Next is the bubble tubes. 2 bubble tubes, one for the longitudinal bubble tube and other is cross bubble tube, are placed at right angles to each other. These bubbles contain spread bubble. The bubble is brought to the center of the help of foot screw. The bubble tubes are fixed on the top of the telescope. Next is a compass. A compass is provided just below the telescope for taking the magnetic bearing of a line when required. The compass is graduated in such a way that a pointer which is fixed to the body of compass indicates a reading of 0 degree when the telescope is directly along the north line. Next instrument is used is a leveling staff. The leveling staff is a graduated wooden rod used for measuring the vertical distances between the points on a ground and the line of collimation. Leveling staffs are classified into two groups: a target staff and the self-reading staff. Next we can use the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a brass ring fitted inside the telescope just in front of the eyepiece. It can be adjusted by 4 screws. The ring carries the crosshairs which get magnified when reviewed through the eyepiece. The crosshairs may be marked in the following way. In that, first is with spider webs stretched across the ring by very fine scratch marks made in the glass fitted in the ring, or by means of a platinum wires or silk threads stretched across the ring. The crosshair consisting of two vertical hairs meant for maintaining the verticality of the staff, and middle horizontal hair representing the line of collimation, and upper standia hair and lower standia hair, both horizontal and short in length. The stadia hairs are meant for determining the horizontal distance between the position of the level and that of the staff, which we can use it. The next point is a points to be remembered by the staffman. The staff should be made vertical by holding it with both arms while standing behind it. The staff should be held on firm ground. When the telescopic staff is to be extended, care should be taken so that the perfectly stretched and properly fixed on the spring catcher. The bottom of the staff should be kept clean. Next point is a points to be remembered by the levelman. The leveling instrument should be placed at a position suitable for the greatest number of observations to be taken. The leveling instrument which can be placed at that position in that there are more number of the observations should be taken without changing the instrument or without taking the change point. The instrument should not be too high or too low. The leveling should be done perfectly, and the leveling instrument should not be placed on the profile line, that is the center line of the project. The eyepiece should be focused by holding a sheet of white paper in front of the telescope. The objective should be focused by pointing the telescope towards the staff. The parallax should be eliminated. The verticality of the staff should be verified by observing the two vertical hairs and by noting the minimum reading on the staff when it is moved along the line of sight. When looked at through the telescope, the staff appears inverted, so the reading should be taken carefully from the top downwards. After taking the staff reading, the position of the bubbles should be verified. If it is disturbed, the reading should be taken again. Next is a procedure for use of compass. The needle of the compass is released by opening the clamp screw. The telescope is directed to the staff or ranging rod and bisected perfectly. Then the needle is allowed to come to rest, that is, the rotation is completely stopped. The reading is taken by raising or lowering the magnifying glass. This is the magnetic bearing of line. A small pin fixed on the periphery of the compass box will indicate the bearing of the line. The initial reading of the pin should be noted before the observation. Next important point is a temporary adjustment of level. The adjustment made at every setup of the level before the staff readings are taken are known as temporary adjustment. In that temporary adjustment, first is the selection of suitable position. A suitable position is selected for setting the level. From the position, it should be possible to take the greatest number of observations without any difficulty. The ground should be fairly level and firm. Next point is fixing the level with tripod. The tripod stand is placed at the required position with its legs well apart and pressed firmly into the ground. Next point is point for adjustment is approximate leveling. By legs of the tripod stand, the foot screws are brought to the center of their run. Two legs of the tripod stand are firmly fixed into the ground. Then the third leg is moved to the left or right or until the bubble is approximately at the center of its run. Next point is a perfect leveling by foot screws. It is the main part of leveling. As the longitudinal bubble is on the top of the telescope, the latter is placed parallel to any pair of foot screws, that is first position, and the bubble is brought to the center by turning the foot screws equally either both inward or outward. The telescope is then turned through 90 degree second position and brought over the third foot screw, and the bubble is brought at the center by turning these foot screws clockwise or anti-clockwise. The telescope is again brought to its original position, the first position, and the bubble is brought to the center. The process is repeated several times until the bubble remains in the central position in the first as well as the second position. Then the telescope is turned through 180 degree. If the bubble still remains in the central position, the temporary adjustment is perfect, and so the permanent adjustment. But if the bubble is deflected from its central position, the permanent adjustment is not perfect, needs to be modified. Next is the focusing of eyepiece. A piece of white paper is held in front of the object glass and the eyepiece is moved in or out by turning the clockwise or anti-clockwise until the crosshairs can be seen clearly. Next is the focusing the object glass. The telescope is directed towards the leveling staff looking through the eyepiece. The focusing screw is turned clockwise or anti-clockwise until the graduation of the staff is distinctly visible and the parallax is eliminated. To eliminate the parallax, the eyepiece is moved up and down to verify whether the graduation of the staff remains fixed relative to the crosshairs. Next point is taking the staff readings. Finally, the leveling of the instrument is verified by turning the telescope in any direction when the bubbles, the longitudinal bubble and cross bubbles remains in central position for any direction of the telescope. The staff readings are to be taken in that way. So friends, today we stop here. We can see this lecture, the types of the levelings. In that, the main type is a dumpy level. There are various instruments which are used in the dumpy level surveying. Diaphragm, which points to be remembered by staffman or level man. It's a temporary adjustment of the level we can see in this all lecture. So today we stop here. You can any query or any doubt, you can mail on following mail ID cd_multi@unishivaji.ac.in. Thank you very much.